It's 27 days to the December polls. Welcome to Election Brief here on your election headquarters with me, Araba Kumson. Election Brief is brought to you by Petrosol. And coming up, President Akufo-Addo is working at winning the hearts of assembly members to his side after John Mahama's promise to pay them monthly will go live to the presidency for updates. Also, independent presidential candidate resorts to employing services of macho men for protection as he accuses the police of failing to provide them with security with less than a month to the polls.
No, but we don't feel safe. You are forced to use what we normally term as macho men, the unconventional security.
Also, our former General Secretary of the MPP, Kwabena Agyapong, asked party members running as independent candidates to reconsider the decision as he calls on them to surrender their personal interest to that of the parties.
So what I want is for the party to you
deliver something without expecting anything in return.
Supporting the party.
And how? Once President Akufo captured the essence of what I'm saying, also can say obey General Secretary
a party in opposition, party in power.
It is a party with power, and hear me, and that's why I'm back again, supporting this party, encouraging the base of the party. Kenya almost sorry.
And on the campaign trail, John Mahama is in the Ashanti region. Vice President Baumia is in the Upper East region, as both Professor Opoku-Agyeman and the First Lady tour the Greater Accra regions. We'll be live on the grounds with updates. Election Brief is live on Facebook, on Instagram. It's also live on myjoyonline.com. And as we earlier indicated, it is brought to you by kind courtesy of Petrosol. I'm Araba Kumson. Stay tuned in. Thanks for staying with us. Now, the team of the independent presidential candidate in the 2020 election says they have had to employ the services of macho men to provide protection following the failure of the police service to deploy a security detail to their campaign. In previous elections, presidential candidates have received police protection after successfully filing to contest. But with 27 days to the 2020 elections, some candidates are yet to receive their security aids. Jacob Osei-Yeboah, who is running mate to the sole independent candidate, Alfred Walker, says their team has had to employ the macho men to provide security for them.
No, but we don't feel safe. You are forced to use what we normally term as macho men, the unconventional security, and with them anything can happen. But we are forced to use them because the state is refusing to give us the needed security. So this is what is happening. We don't have any security men assigned to us, but sometimes you can use your own pack. Maybe you can get some of these security men to move with you, but we need the official one as is done conventionally and for every election year. It's a bit tricky. We've written to the IGP. We've been having conversation with them, and we are hoping, if possibly, it's either today or so. But up till now, as presidential candidates, we've not yet had any security details, and it's quite. We are actually in the state of apprehension. With my two-term experience, we've never had such an issue. The moment you qualified, within a week you are assigned your security from the police, and especially those personnel that you feel comfortable to move with, the police will assign them to you. But this time around, we do not know what is actually going on. And I think maybe the IGP is actually working on it. You can also ask the other presidential candidates. I don't think that has been done yet.
President Akufo-Addo is engaging elected assembly members from the Greater Accra and the national level to explore ways to meet some of their needs. And Elton Brobe is our presidential correspondent. He joins us via Zoom. Elton, so what are the concerns that the association has put before the president?
Well, Raps, we'll have to wait a little longer before we get to understand the issues. But we can just wrap our heads around the current issues regarding the assembly members. And I think that going into this meeting, there are two proposals. One from the ex-president, who is saying that if elected, he would ensure that they are paid every month, they are given salary every month. And according to him, it will come from part of his plans to revamp the birth and death data collection along with the system for registering to vote. So this is a proposal coming from the NDC's flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, that if elected, he will ensure that elected assembly members are paid every month for their work towards national development. Now, we know that the Greater Accra Association of Assembly Members, they have expressed doubts about the ability of the ex-president to honor this promise, because according to them, in 2012, the same NDC captured this in their manifesto, but was unable to implement it during the presidency of the former president, John Dramani Mahama. Now, today's meeting, which is starting in the next 20 minutes, it is part of a long list of activities President Akufo-Addo is engaging in today. So at 2 o'clock, he will meet the Greater Accra Association of Assembly Members. And then at exactly 5 p.m., the Ghana Association of Assembly Members. And from what I've gleaned from handlers of the president, the issues are almost the same. So it is unclear why he's meeting the association from the Greater Accra and then the national. But key on the agenda is how the two parties, that's government and the assembly members, will work towards addressing some of their pressing needs. And I'm told that the assembly members already are talking about remuneration, as to whether it will come in the form of a salary or some end of service benefit, or whether they will be given some incentives as they work as elected assembly members. These are the issues that they will be discussing with the president. The president will in turn inform them what his position will be on the matter, the MPP's position on the matter, and if elected, how they hope to address some of these issues. So going into this meeting, which is starting in the next 18 minutes, this is what I've gathered from the assembly members, and I'm told that they will first make their position known. They will advance arguments why some of their concerns must be addressed, and they will demand to know the government position on the concerns that they have, and they will hear from the president as to how they hope to deal with this matter. So 2 o'clock, the Greater Accra Association of Assembly Members, and then at 5 p.m., the Ghana Association of Assembly Members meeting, and I'm told that the agenda obviously the same.
All right, and Elton, just before you go, we were told that the president was to begin a tour of the northern region this week. Does that mean that that has been suspended?
Well, the information we've picked is that the campaign itself is likely to start this weekend, and then the official launch will be done virtually, and then the president will be on the ground this weekend, starting the campaign all out. So that's what all of us are working towards. But for now, the whole of this week, my information that will be in Accra, attending to some pressing government business. Today, for instance, even beyond the fact that we're meeting assembly members, there's also a program where he's inaugurating the governing board of the National Peace Council, and also hear the analysis so far of just few days to the elections and what government is doing to resource them to go on with their advocacy role to ensure that we have peaceful and credible elections in December. And then in the days to follow, there are equally, penciled government programs that we will attend to. But this weekend, his boots will be on the ground. And I'm told that once it starts this weekend, from the Western region, go up north and then end up in the Greater Accra region before the December 7th elections are over.
All right, many thanks, presidential correspondent Elton Brobe there. Now, security analysts have warned that some presidential candidates are exposed to attacks following increasing reports of armed robberies following the killing of the Member of Parliament from Fansiman, Ekokwanse Hayford. Government deployed police personnel to guard MPs until the end of the year, but presidential candidates say their lives are even more at risk and require police protection. Security analyst Adams Bona believes leadership of the Ghana Police Service must immediately make available personnel to protect the candidates and avert any potential casualties. Adams Bona joins me on the line now. Well, I am told Adams Bona is not on the line. We'll try and reach him and bring you that conversation. You're still here on Election Brief with me, Arbor Kumson. So what you just saw there was sights and sounds from the Kumasi airport as the NDC supporters await the arrival of the party's flag bearer at the Kumasi airport. We are on the campaign trail now. We begin from the camp of the NDC, where former President Mahama is beginning a 6-day tour of the Ashanti region. Hundreds of NDC supporters, as you saw there, thronged the airport hours before his arrival. My colleague Maxwell Akbar is in Ashanti region with the NDC flag bearer. He joins us via Zoom. Maxwell, tell us about the mood at the airport before the arrival of Mr. Mahama.
Well, it looks like a mini jamboree at the Kumasi airport prior to the arrival of the former president. I counted hundreds of NDC supporters who came there in bicycles, popularly known as Mahama Kambu. Some of them came in pickup. Some of them also came on motorbikes. In fact, paraphernalia, all of them came there to come and welcome the president, to the Ashanti region. Now, driving through town and coming all the way here to Pessoa in the Ahafo and North Southeast district. Well, what we saw, quite a number of people, on the shoulder of the road. Hundreds of them, waving the former president as he drove and made his way to this place. Many of them we saw making a sign of change, and some of them also raising their two fingers up in the air to indicate the position of the NDC on the ballot. So really, we see quite a lot of and now quite a lot here in the Ashanti region, and this place at the where we are currently is a first port of call for the presidential candidate of NDC. As it stands right now, he's addressing residents and chiefs of this community, and I can hear him asking the people to point to one thing that the NDC government has done for them since they were voted into power. Part of the convoy of the former president, we have the campaign manager for the NDC here with him. We have the former Ashanti Regional Minister, Alexander is also here. Alex Mode is also here, together with other party bigwigs. All of them are here. From here, we are told that he will continue to another destination where he will meet residents and engaging stakeholders in the Ashanti region. Tomorrow, however, we are told that he will be playing a catechol on the Ashanti at the Asia Park.
All right, many thanks. Maxwell Agbagba is our man on the ground with the former president's team as he begins his tour of the Ashanti region. Remember, he's already been to the Ashanti region. He's campaigned there. He's returning there for a second tour. Now, there's total disregard for the COVID-19 protocols as the running mate to the flag bearer of the NDC, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, begins her tour of the Greater Accra region today. Most of the supporters cited by JoyNews were not in their face masks and did not practice social distancing protocols. But addressing the people of Nima in the Ayawaso East constituency, Professor Opoku-Agyeman promised to restore the allowances of the Arabic teachers when voted for on December 7. She's also promising to create an oil fund which will make the citizenry access loans without interest.
Moka, it's Yaba no so Yaba Betuaso. Obia nim so ya fan the home faso, Anameboa. Sadlo na Ukodia, Yenjo interest Biano, the papa, and I'm saying, Yen said down Suani, into no so say a manifesto. Now, Sadia Louis in the year, and then a man, and yes, about the Debia, no, Yabosia. Debia, so no walker. Let's say, Nija Wabrabum, look, I was said it. Enti enunina na yewura John Dramani Mahama atena hodi ahwe ehu se no eno so ye de ba ebeboa enti the NDC ne Islam ye nuafo party ne simonai so enti mona ye ni damo so ne nim se mo ba ye mo ye bida ti se de yewura John Dramani Mahama ye nim se wa ye bida no enti ende e sra nyankopon se nya ne pe na baby dan one number 2 and one number 2.
Acting President of Ningo Traditional Council and the Chief of Ningo, Nene Waka Atiapa III, has assured the MPP government of his support in the upcoming elections. He said this when the First Lady Rebecca Kufuado toured the area. The chief noted that even though the people of Ningo Pram have never elected an MPP parliamentarian, he's hopeful the narrative will change this year. Mrs. Kufuado urged them to vote for the parliamentary candidate, Alexander Mate, as well as the MPP.
4 years ago, Mba, Basani, Mba Panye Fai, ni Yabomode, ni for Chikenya Hawo, ni Efra
4 years ago, I came to beg you to vote for us. You did your best for us. Now I am here to ask that you vote massively again.
7 December, Esaninya Kalashi, Ninye vote near Hale, Leba Chanu Chumono, Nuchumone Jesisi, free SHS.
Please say thank you to President Kufuado by voting for him on December 7th. They said he couldn't implement free SHS. Hasn't he done it? Your kids are also eating for free. Why change such a good leader? We are moving forward, not...
Nana, Eka number 1, the ballot paper. Alex Martin, number 1. Nika 5, Kanye Tia, Nina Vota number 1. Akalaka waya here, Akesani Achakemi. Wachakemi, waya here. Number 1, 4 more for Nana. More for one, to do more for you.
Both the president and Alex Mate are number 1 on the ballot paper. Please vote for them. Don't let anyone deceive you into going for a change. Vote for Nanado to do more. Give Alex Mate a chance to serve you as well.
Now, countdown to the December polls, and we have 27 days to go as we indicated. And then, as a prospective voter, there are key things you must know to ensure you're on the right side of the law, even when you step out to exercise your franchise. Senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Law School, Abdul Aziz Bamba, has been sharing with us some tips. All right, so he says no hard liquor must be sold within 500 meters from polling stations. The rationale is to prevent people from getting drunk and causing trouble. A voter must report to a polling station between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. on election day to cast his or her ballot. By law, once a voter is in the queue before 5 p.m., she or he is entitled to vote. One person, one vote. The only exception to this law is when a voter has been appointed as a proxy. This means the voter can vote for himself or herself and the principal. You're still here with me, Arba Kumsin, on Election Brief. We're taking a short break. We'll be back after this. You're welcome back. Now, the Great Consolidated People's Party says it will create 3 million job opportunities through solar energy generation. Presidential candidate Dr. Henry Herbert Lartey says his party will establish factories that will produce solar panels. He revealed this when the party started its tour of the Ashanti region on Monday. Prince Appiah was with the team and now reports.
The GCPP flag bearer first visited the home of the Ashanti Regional Chief Imam, Sheikh Abdul Momen Haroon. The flag bearer, Dr. Henry Herbert Lartey, says the GCPP government will create 3 million jobs from harnessing solar energy.
It's a very strong source of energy, of solar. You can say Morocco, they are exporting $570 million a year of solar to Spain. Meanwhile, the whole of Spain, the whole of Europe, they depend on Russia for more energy. And you can people offering Desertec, the best in solar. And you want in your deal, Ghana, we team up with Ghanaian farmers, with Ghanaian business. Now you produce solar panels, so we will build cutting-edge industries. Now also, in New York, they are building electrical and hydrogen cars. In the next 20 years, diesel and petrol won't use it because diesel no to sun, petrol is to sun, but the sun, it will be there for life. All day it's now no, we won't do that. We've organized Desertec to come and partners, and we'll create 3 million jobs for Ghana on the solar energy.
The agriculture sector has received a lot of policy directions by the political parties since the beginning of the campaign season. Dr. Lartey says his government will focus on organic farming, which has ready export market.
Domestication is still the best policy, but agriculture and organic production. Organic production, you use pesticides, you use artificial fertilizers, you both use ordinary leaves, ordinary mulch, organic fertilizer. The Bamban Kofun, my farmers organic fertilizer, no what I farming. Now, the margin now today, the whole Ghana pharmacy now, go to the exporter, go to Atodan, go to Atodan cars, no, either, go to Tampa.
Dr. Lartey is the first presidential candidate to have visited the Zongo chief since the campaign started. Chief of the Zongo community in the region, Sultan Umar Farouk Said, asked the politicians to put out policies to encourage continuous education among the youth in Zongo communities.
Abinda muke bukata ba waɗansu abu masu yawa bane sau ba zongwa ana sai tutura sama aiko so zongo no a tuma amnante emni enna ma tutura sam e ba no santi uba yen ya de ne sai amnante no sai ne ba ya ubia benye jumaye.
Meanwhile, the tour will continue till Wednesday. Prince Appiah reporting.
Now, former General Secretary of the governing New Patriotic Party, Kwabena J. Ejipon, says in spite of his issues with the party that led to his suspension, he's back with the party now and ready to play his role for victory. Kwabena Ejipon was suspended as General Secretary and member of the party, along with the party's chairman, Paul Afoko, and second vice chairperson, Sami Crab, for allegedly working against the interests of the NPP ahead of the 2016 general elections. But Mr. Ejipon is back with the party now and campaigning for the government in its re-election bid. He has been speaking on Ekosi Seng on our sister station, Asempa FM.
Since 92, me being a bit machine, and when you do that, you have a certain mental fortitude to withstand difficult situations. Of course,
Since 1992,
even before he was
there is nothing that can hurt you like the defeat of a newborn, and that gives you a certain mental fortitude. See, people forget that I was the one who raised Nana Akufo-Addo's hand as the next president. And President Akufo-Addo said that captures the whole essence of what I am saying. That it is better to be a messenger in government than a general secretary in opposition. So what I want is for the party to be in power.
Deliver something
and
without
that's why I'm
expecting anything in return.
supporting the party.
And how? Once President Kufuor captured the essence of what I'm saying, also can say obey general secretary or party in opposition. Party in power. It is a party with power. Any hear me, and that's why I'm back again, supporting this party, encouraging the base of the party. Kenya, sorry.
Kwabena Japong also noted that the so-called mega projects undertaken by the NDC were all inflated. As a professional engineer himself, the former press secretary to the president touted what he described as his party's superior infrastructure projects.
Where is the mega infrastructure from the other side? Which one is the mega?
Oh, they name cycle interchange.
That is a complete riff-off. Let me tell you something. I'll give you 3 examples. Maybe just 3. We are rebuilding the Tema General Hospital. That's a big. Have you seen the new design? Big big Tema General Hospital. The Central Medical Stores next year.
Yes.
It's being rebuilt. Doma is in the new.
Yes. The Central Medical.
Yes. And Doma Accident Center and Kwanza District Hospital, all using a facility of 160 million euros. 4 major 160 million. Rich. Which is nowhere near the new Tema Central Regional Hospital, General Hospital. Is what, $301 million? Come on. That's just 1. 2.
But you are a technical.
That's what I'm speaking.
Would you make that argument? Because if you can say you should watch what went into the.
But of course, that's why I'm speaking as an engineer. I know what bills of quantities are. I know what buildings are, and I know per unit rates of asphalt. I mean, it's like Kumasi Airport.
Now, as politicians crisscross the country to win the hearts and minds of voters ahead of the December 7th general election, in the midst of a rapid increase of Ghana's coronavirus case count, a clinician and public health expert, Dr. Priscilla Orleans Podo, is advising political actors to utilize technology and small groupings to communicate their policies to Ghanaians. She noted in an interview with Daniel Dazi on Prime Morning on Monday that going back to the period where there was a restriction on numbers on gatherings will be the best.
As a clinician, as a public health person, of course, if that now was an easier way, yes, that would have been best. But like I said, technology is available to us, and we've seen people have all these live videos. Of course, there are sections of the public that you cannot reach using technology. And so is it possible that politicians will consider grouping people in various societies so that they communicate their policies to them rather than demanding or conducting some of these rallies? Is it also possible that maybe we should go back to restricting the numbers as we did before? It's a difficult call, but considering what we are seeing, maybe it's important that we do it.
Another public health expert and adjunct professor at New York University, Nana Kofi Kwache, on his part, called on political actors on both sides to have a serious conversation about the subject, else there would be a serious public health crisis after the elections.
Very serious conversation about that. I don't think we can continue what we are seeing, even if we just go by the active case and say that that is our official record. What we are seeing there and that kind of rapid escalation should cause some pause. We can't say we're doing tours that are actually rallies just because you're in a car doesn't make it not a problem, because the people on the road, like Dr. Podo was saying, are not wearing masks, they're not doing that. So there has to be some serious conversation. I think political actors on both sides have to find time and really look at what the situation is here, because the reality is if we continue at this rate, whoever is president on January 7th is going to have, a serious public health crisis to deal with.
Global health public health expert Dr. John Amwesi has also been contributing to the discussion.
No, you're absolutely right. You see, you need to take these things in context. If you look at it in terms of the ultimate outcome, which is death, you would not be too worried. presently because of the relatively lower death rates. This is the point I was trying to make.
Okay.
Now you can look at it at various levels, including simply the morbidity that comes along with infections. Because there are some diseases, and COVID maybe to some degree, where you're least concerned about the death, but more concerned about having the illness itself. Because having the illness takes you away from work, it makes you less productive, and ultimately does not bode well for the economy. So all these things are really in different perspectives. And I was saying, looking at it from the perspective of risk of death, I would say that not too bad presently, but if we certainly continue at this rate, we will have trouble moving up. And this is where to answer your definitive answer to your question around political activity, especially coming up with the elections. Naturally, with elections, there will be increased levels of contact, increased levels of association. There will invariably be.
So, Doc, I'm really sorry, but we have to go. Would that be a yes or no on capping political activity?
No, I certainly could not say yes or no to that. It's not political activity, but certainly restricting the gathering and the movement of people to some degree would be the way to go. And this doesn't have to be limited to the political sphere.
You're welcome back to Election Brief. And an independent candidate contesting the Pando parliamentary seat, Isaac Newton Nyakbe, has ridiculed his dismissal from the opposition National Democratic Congress. According to him, he had already forfeited his membership of the party when he conceived the idea to run as an independent candidate and debunked rumors that he had been disqualified from contesting the Pando parliamentary seat. He was speaking to JoyNews after a press conference by the concerned youth of Hoi Hoi.
Dismissed by the NDC for failing to contest as independent parliamentary candidates in the December 7 polls. However, the concerned youth of Pando does not seem to be disturbed about this dismissal. According to the group, they endorsed the candidature of Mr. Nyakbe since the NDC was bent on presenting the non-performing incumbent, Madame de la Soa. Kojo Adai is the convener of the concerned youth group of Pando.
Over the decades, we do not know what our representatives that we voted for in this constituency, Pando, on the ticket of NDC, have been doing in Parliament. Indeed, after voting for them, all we see them do is to buy big cars and reach their immediate families and bring the crumbs to the constituents in the form of pieces of cloth, cutlass, Ghana city notes, fertilizer. Just to mention a few. This year, we have decided to change this myopic narrative by rallying behind one of our own, the youth, Isaac Newton Nyakbe. We therefore have no doubt that Isaac Newton Nyakbe can best perform this task. And we, the teeming youth of Pando constituency, come 7th December, we will vote for him to become the next member of parliament for Pando constituency. We are therefore convinced that the NDC as a party in Pando constituency, NDC in Pando constituency, is not interested in the development of the constituency. And that we, the concerned youth of Pando constituency, would advise ourselves on who to vote as president.
Speaking to JoyNews, Mr. Nyakbe expressed utmost surprise at the rumor of his disqualification from the parliamentary context.
What marvels me is the rate at which the NDC is making mischief of this, telling the populace that I am no longer contesting as an MP, not telling them that they had dismissed me as a member of the NDC, but their secretary and other people are going around telling the people that I am no longer standing as an MP and I have been disqualified. This is the message I want to send clear to the people of Pando, that I am still in the race. I am number 4 on the ballot sheet, and I pray that come December 7th, they vote me as MP for Pando constituency.
What are your chances of wrestling the seat from Dalasio?
Well, I know that God makes kings. That's number one. So I know my God is going to give me this seat, and I will do marvelously as an MP for the people of Pando. Fred
Kwame Asari, Joy News, Pando.
I say glad to take
Let's head to the northern region now, and the Tamale North constituency is one of the most sought-after seats in the northern region. Created in 2004, the seat has been largely held by the National Democratic Congress. Today, we tell the political history of Tamale North as we look ahead to what promises to be a fierce contest between incumbent Alhassan Suhuyini and former MP Alhassan Dahmani. Martina Bugri has the details.
The Tamale North constituency is one of the constituencies in the regional capital Tamale. Created in 2004, the seat has been largely held by the National Democratic Congress. Alhaji Abubakar Sumani was the first member of parliament for that constituency. He retained his seat in 2008 after beating then independent candidate Alhassan Dahmani and 4 other contestants. But Alhaji Sumani wasn't third-time lucky as he lost his bid to Alhassan Dahmani, who was contesting again as an independent candidate. Mr. Dahmani's catchy slogan, "No Dahmani, no vote," caught on with the constituents, who gave him the nod to represent them in parliament, albeit via a slim margin of 694 votes. Then in 2016, the NDC Alhassan Suhuyini emerged. He played to the gallery and won the hearts of the people in an election Christian Alhassan Suhuyini seized the power. Mr. Suhuyini won, emphatically beating his contender, the MPP's Kulsume Mohammed, by more than 5,000 votes. 2016, Suhuyini seized the power. What's the slogan for this year?
Well, this year the slogans are so many, depending on the community that I go to. One slogan or the other is dropped. Yesterday I was at Manaili, and the people said that they are giving me ruler. This year they are replacing the Assisi power with ruler. And it depends on where you go. Others say that I'm the development chief, Tumalana, and all those things. So it depends on the community, but the Assisi power is still very much alive.
4 years later, Alhassan Dahmani has staged a comeback, but this time on the ticket of the NPP, making him Alhassan Suhuyini's closest contender. Incumbent member of parliament Alhassan Suhuyini believes he has contributed his quota, and with the grace of God, he will win for the second time. He outlined some of the projects he has undertaken.
By the grace of God, even though we did not come into parliament at a time that our government was in power, we have been able to lead a number of interventions in the constituency that we are, I will say, thankful to God for. For example, one of our very rural areas in the constituency, known as Balahe, as a result of my intervention, they are getting a very, modern clinic that is being put up by Kata Charity, an NGO that I approached and requested support from. And I am grateful to the foundation, because that is not the only community that is benefiting from their intervention. In fact, it came to me as a shock when they called me one afternoon and announced the projects that they were, going to undertake in my community after I had engaged them for over a year. And the Balahai Clinic is one. They are doing a similar clinic in Ward K. And they are doing 3-unit classroom block in Kalpohini and another 3-unit classroom block in Kamble. They have also provided 3 water, mechanized, boreholes in the communities in Tamale North, Kamble, Baumo, Kamble to Nairi, and then Kumani. Now, that is what I want to be the model of a member of parliament lobbying for projects, not only just from central government, but also other well-meaning organizations like non-governmental organizations that are into development work. And I am also very, very thankful not only to Qatar Charity, but to other NGOs that have in different ways helped me to impact life in the last 4 years that I have been the MP of this area. One that also comes to mind is Crime Check Foundation. It's also a Ghanaian NGO. They have also helped me to provide a water system, a mechanized well with overhead tank at a community known as Wovoguma. It is a community that shared until that well shared their water source, a dam that was constructed somewhere in year 2000.
Now, residents in the Bono regional capital say their decision to vote will be influenced by the impact of government policies in their lives, that of their relatives and the general populace. Speaking to JoyNews in Sunyani, some also feel it's a waste of time to join a queue to vote, describing the NPP and the NDC as the same car with different drivers. Listen to some of them.
The Bible cracker was a me yi panyini ana metu aba epekandi for ya kwan ye niema ye mai school omoko even anu adakra aduane ye no ama ye manye emu nyina na betimi ama ye meska ata aduane adi enti dani dru a 7 December na mekwa akokire madwe na mato aba ama nanado na watu anunuma pa oye
mehwe mpuntuo ne babi amewo efa rules ene mapomuden ho nsem na me tibie mu no de ebe boa me no ana aboa me no e na me hwe so de e de ato aba because we say no mu edin but still aba na yese meto because ye obi o ha wa baba baby obi so aye de echen obi so de because me nto aba e ma me ho nkyere me e na me nto aba nkofa mfutuom enti me to aba say yese me fa kwan papa so me to aba say me ko hospital me ho beto me enti na meto aba enti me hwe ni nyina na me de ato aba enti ene de aba ne de meto pa we for the agro.
I know Ghanaians deserve better, but when they are in opposition they will bring all the sugar coated words, but when they come to power they don't do what the populace needs. I believe they rather do the party ideology and leave national issues. I see both MPP and DC as the same people. They massage issues, they don't tackle corruption very well, they do what they want. That day, if I go and do something, that will fetch me something small for me to eat. That will be better for me than to go and join a queue to vote for a certain candidate. I think they are, it's like the same car, different drivers.
And on that note, we end Election Brief for today. Remember, Election Brief is always brought to you by Petrosol, a clean fuel, thick to act. And Election Brief will come your way same time tomorrow at 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. I'm Arun. Thanks for your time. See you same time tomorrow.